The branches over here, you see, these are leaves of the olive trees. It's very holy and divine for all the Abrahamic religions and not just for Islam.
Is it okay if I eat like all of them?
My name is Masa Aburrub. I am from Palestine. I'm from Jenin, but I live in a city called Ramallah. I study international relations and political science.
Okay, that's great. So let's talk about your hometown. What's the name of your hometown?
Jenin. It's called Jenin, yeah.
Okay. So let's say we're both from Palestine, right? And I'm saying I'm from Jenin. What comes to your mind about this place?
The first thing that comes to your mind, of course, is Fatima Hatun Masjid. It's a mosque called Fatima Hatun. It was built by Fatima Hatun in the Ottoman Empire. When they used to go for Hajj or pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia, they would stop by Palestine to go to Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem, and then they would stop by Jenin, and they loved Jenin because of the city was very beautiful. So they decided to build a mosque there, and it's called Al-Masjid al-Kabir, or the big mosque.
I understand that there's a lot of olive trees in Palestine,
yes.
And I was reading somewhere that Palestine has one of the oldest olive oil trees.
Mm-hmm.
Can you confirm if this is true or not?
Yes, it's true.
Okay.
Palestine, wherever you look, you see olive trees. The mountains are filled with olive trees. They're all very old. Of course, there are new ones, but everywhere you look, you see old olive trees. And how do you even know the age of the olive tree? You look at the roots, not roots, jidha. In Arabic, we call it jidha, which is the branch, I think, from the bottom, above the ground. You look at it and you see the width. If it's more than 1 meter or so, it's more than 500 years old. So majority of the olive trees in Palestine that you see, they have wide branches from the bottom, so they're very, very ancient.
Let's talk about the importance of these olive trees. I understand
Yes.
that people use olives for many things. What do olive trees represent in Palestine?
Yes. Olive trees are very, very important symbolic figure for Palestinians. It's even in our hatta or the kufiya. The branches over here, you see, these are the leaves of the olive trees. Over here, the shape of them. And it's a symbol for resilience. It's a symbol for strength, a symbol for land. It's a symbol of history. And it's what ties us to the land, because our grandparents and our family and all of the people before us, they all really care about the land, and they all take care of the trees. It's their own children.
I want to start with weddings. How do you celebrate your weddings, or what do you do? Let's say there's a wedding here. What are the elements of the wedding in Palestine?
Of course, traditionally speaking, we have Dubke. We use a lot of Dubke, which is the traditional Palestinian dance. There's a row of Palestinian men and women, but mainly men. They wear traditional clothing called the qumbaz, and they're all dressed in that, and they're all standing and doing Dubke moves. Dubke basically is that they dance using their feet. They do a lot of feet stomps in the ground. A lot of women, they wear their Palestinian traditional clothing in the weddings.
Okay.
It's called
do you have like a specific color for the dressing, or you can just wear any color?
Actually, it's very interesting because the thob, or the Palestinian traditional the Palestinian traditional dresses, they all have different colors, and they all represent where the person is coming from. So back in the days when females would see each other, they could guess where this lady or the other person is from just by looking at their thob. So every region has a certain color and even a certain embroidery, or what we call tatriz. So people from Jerusalem also have different thobs than people from, let's say, Nablus.
Is this still going on, or it was like a part of history, but now it's like you can't really see it that often?
Well, kind of. Only our grandmas, for instance, they still take care of their thobs, and they still have them from a very long time ago. But nowadays, you see youths, they're wearing the traditional basic Palestinian thob, which is the black and red tatriz.
Let's talk about the famous people from Palestine.
I actually have a lot of people in mind, but the top ones that come to my mind, I can say Najil Ali.
Okay, what does he do, or what does she do?
Najil Ali is a caricature artist. He used to draw a lot of symbolic figures for Palestine and symbolic caricatures, and he would publish them, and Basically, what he drew that was very famous is called Handala, or a figure of a very little child who was 7 years old. He doesn't show his face. We never see his face. It's only from the back of his body figure. We see him from behind. And why is he so important? Because now it became a symbolic figure for Palestinians, especially those in diaspora. Handala represents them who left their lands at 7 years old, and they couldn't come back and they couldn't see their lands. So Najil Ali mentioned basically that when Palestine is free, you can see the drawing of Handala's face. There's of course Mahmoud Darwish.
What does he do? Is he an artist as well?
He's an artist, yes. Well, not artist, he is a poet and a Palestinian literature writer. He's very famous. He wrote a lot of the very famous Palestinian poems that we listen to that also were turned into songs at some point. There's a lot of Palestinian artists that sing Palestinian traditional music. Why do I love it so much? Because the words that they use are very strong, and they show courage, and they show the beauty of the land. They describe their day-to-day incidents, and they describe what they used to live back in the days.
Okay, that's great. Can you explain, maybe there's someone who sees the building all the time, they've seen it in pictures, this famous mosque in Palestine. Can you just give people like a brief information about why this is so important?
If you mention this famous mosque, if you're being specific, there is one which is the most famous in Palestine. It's called Masjid al-Aqsa, or it's in Jerusalem. Basically, there's also other mosques, but there's the Abrahamic Mosque in Hebron, which is also very famous. But if we want to specifically talk about Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem, why is it very important? Because inside Masjid al-Aqsa, it was the first Qibla of the Muslims. So that's why it's very important. Also, in the old city of Jerusalem, it's very holy and divine for all the Abrahamic religions, and not just for Islam. There is the Church of Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, and it's all within the old city of Jerusalem. And there is the Western Wall for the Jews, and then there is the Masjid al-Aqsa for the Palestinian Muslims, for Muslims overall in the whole world. But yeah. Anyway, Masjid al-Aqsa is very important for Muslims. Why? Because inside Masjid al-Aqsa, there is more than one place of prayer. There is Musalla al-Qibali, which was the first Qibla of the Muslims. And there is the Dome of the Rock, or Qubt al-Sakhra, which is the very famous blue imprints on the outside, and the dome that is golden. I'm sure you've seen a lot of pictures of it. This is very famous because why is it famous and holy? Because it's said that it holds the rock that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, stepped on when it was the night of Isra and Mi'raj. So it has the rock inside of it, and it's where the Prophet for the first time prayed as an imam for all of the prophets in the whole history of Islam. So in the history of the world. So it's where all the prophets prayed together in Jama'ah, and Prophet Muhammad was the Imam, so it was in Jerusalem. So it's very holy for Islam. It's a very holy and important figure for all Muslims.
So let's just jump into food right now.
Okay, cool.
I know you were waiting for this part. So,
yes.
Yeah, I don't want to keep extending it. Let's just jump into it.
Okay.
So we can learn about the cool foods from Palestine and what to expect when you go to Palestine on your plate.
Okay, there's a lot of things to expect, and the Palestinian cuisine is very mixed. It has a lot of different nutritions and different, I could say it's majorly healthy. It has a lot of variety. For breakfast, we usually, I'm talking about the traditional Palestinian breakfast, we have usually zayt za'atar, which is olive oil, and za'atar, which is thyme in English. We also have kak al-Quds, which is the Jerusalem bread. It's like a sort of bread that is oval shaped. And we also have Nablesi cheese, or jibna Nablesiya, for breakfast. We have hummus, we have falafel. That's the breakfast. For lunch, we usually have very famous dishes, like, for instance, maqlube, or it's basically made out of rice. Why is it called maqlube? Because it translates to turned upside down. Why is it called this way? Because when we put the rice and we cook it in this pot, and then when we want to serve it, we turn the pot upside down, so it's literally turned upside down. That's the name of it. We also have مسخن, which is our traditional bread that our grandmas used to. Back in the day when I was young, I remember my grandma used to bake it in front of us. It's called khubz tabun. So it's very old bread. It's like oval, and we put on top of it onions and sumaq, or the name of the spice, and we put chicken on top. This is مسخن. It's very simple, and a lot of olive oil. So as you can see, we use a lot of olive oil in the majority of our meals. It's very important for us as Palestinians. And actually there's this proverb, I think, that when you see someone that is smart in Palestine, you go like, oh, they probably ate a lot of zayt zatar. So it's very, it's very important in our culture.
Did you bring any foods today that we can see?
Yes, I came prepared.
Okay, great. Let's just see some of the foods.
So over here, before I get into what's inside these, basically you can tell that the structure of all of this, it's all handmade. I think in a certain factory in Hebron, they hand paint it, and they even do the glass themselves. And they do them in different structures. You can see over here as well. They use them in plates, and this to keep the zayt and zatar, which is a very traditional breakfast for Palestinians. They also use them in cups and in any other sort of decorations. They're called zakhaf in Arabic. Anyway, inside of this, you can see the zayt and zatar, which is the traditional Palestinian breakfast. It's pure from home. Over here, this is the pure and fresh olive oil. It doesn't have any chemicals or preservatives, nothing. It's purely from the land. And you see the thyme or the zatar. You eat this with bread first. You take the piece of bread, you put it inside the olive oil, and after that you put it inside the zatar. This is for breakfast, and sometimes people like to have it for dinner, like late at night with, for example, cucumbers or tomatoes, or labana, which is, I guess, yogurt, I think, translates to yogurt, yeah. Over here, this is basically what you see when you come to a Palestinian household in Eid or any traditional, or let's say Islamically religious holiday. Eid. You see the Palestinian dates. They're usually called Tamar al-Quds, or the Jerusalem dates. They get them from Jericho, and Jericho is actually called the city of palm trees because it produces a lot of the dates and bananas in Palestine. And it's actually one of the oldest civilizations in the world, and it's also one of the oldest and it's one of the lowest city in the Middle East from sea level. So the weather is very appropriate for it to have dates and palm trees because it's usually very hot there. This is ma'mul, which we do in Eid. And this is also, I think it's a sort of ma'mul or ma'ruta. We say that's its name. And these are sweets that we have in every house. So when you come visit, this is what's always there in Eid or in holidays, with, of course, some Arabic coffee or tea. Tea and meramiya. Let me show you. Basically, also for breakfast, we usually have bread tea with meramiya or zaytmana. I'm gonna show you. This is meramiya. We get it from the mountains. This is, I think it's the family of mint, but it's because it's in the mountains, we call it. We don't really call it mint. It's meramiya. It's the name of it. It's very, very healthy, and it's very, very. It tastes really good with tea. And this is zaytmana. It makes, you can see it here, it makes the tea very, very sweet. And these are both from the mountains. Okay. Yeah, that's it, I think.
So guys, we're going to try olive oil from Palestine. And should I dip it to this? Is it too much?
No, it's good.
My God, Bismillah. It was amazing.
Okay, I'm just gonna try the sweet stuff. I'm not gonna try the bread. Let me just try the sweet stuff. This one's good. I think I can have like more of this. Like, is it okay if I eat like all of them?
So let me try it. Very cool. I think I would like this one. I will eat it every morning. It's great, believe me. You should try it, guys. There's something stuck in here.